Hiya, my name's Steve Isles. I'm from the Forest of Dean, and I like to come up here whenever I'm up in Barmouth to look at these amazing paintings, because I think these are really something else.
You've got an artist in your family.
Well, my stepfather, for a start, was a poet, Gail Turnbull, and he was an engineer kind of poet as well, because he used to do poetry with words that you were able to change the order of the words, and however you changed the order, it was amazing poetry. He was a remarkable man.
How did that work? Was it they were on a scroll, were they?
Yeah, he had them on upright scrolls, and he had all sorts of mechanical ways of changing things around, changing the words, and he was a remarkable man, to be fair. Yeah.
Word by word, or was it sentence
you could change one word, you could change any words in any
order.
Even
letters.
Yeah, that's right. It was. I'd love to try and record it some way, but at the moment, it's out of our hands at the moment. But, yeah.
And you say these still exist somewhere?
Yeah, they're up in Edinburgh at the moment. So
in where?
Up in I think they're in this Scottish Museum of Poetry or something like that. Up in Edinburgh.
Oh, yeah.
Edinburgh, so,
well, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah. No.
And an artistic daughter too?
And a daughter who's an artist as well, who's just had her 3 years at uni that have kind of taken her off from the fine art, but she now wants to return into fine art, which is her strength, to be fair. So,
And also, yesterday you were telling me that you're in the oil industry.
Yes, I'm in the oil industry.
But you're a member of Greenpeace?
I've been a member of Greenpeace for 29 years.
How do you square that then?
I love the work. The work's very, very challenging, but I still campaign. I'm anti the drilling in the Arctic and things like that. So, and everyone at work is aware of my leanings, but they still choose to have me there. So.
And you were telling me that you've been considering fracking.
Yeah, they've just come out today, funnily enough. They've just announced that they want to have everybody doing it all over the UK. Well,
except national parks.
Yeah, they said except maybe national parks. They didn't even say absolutely, which is pretty poor. So yes, I'm a little bit struggling with that one as well.
Yeah.
But our engineering is intelligent drilling, so we're actually trying to minimise the harm.
So you can make
one hole, and then you can drill out at lots of angles and hit lots of oil wells without having to drill loads of holes. So actually, we're trying to do the least harm as we can.
Yeah.
And we do require oil, and while we require oil, I'm happy to work in the oil industry. If there are alternatives that would totally replace that, I would have to think again.
And you also said some interesting things about the false economy of wind power. Could you go into that a bit more? I'm sure people would be interested in that.
Into alternative energy. We do solar heating on our house, generating electricity. I'm just about to change over, because I use oil, which I hate using. So we're about to have a heat exchanger in, and so I want to change over to as natural energy supply as I can. However, I've looked into wind farms, and from an engineering standpoint and an economic standpoint, I can't see that they work. So I'm not for wind farms, but I am for alternative energies. But you've got to choose the right alternative energy. You can't just say every alternative energy is okay if it's not adding up properly.
But why are the wind farms not economically viable?
They cost a huge amount to have up. You have to have about 200 tons of concrete or whatever it is, which holds each one up. They're not able to work if there's high wind, and they don't work if there's low wind, so they're switched off a lot of time. And they just don't, it just does not add up when you look at the statistics. I looked at having one micro generation on our house, and everything I came up, it just wasn't worth having.
No.
And yet I have everything else I can do, but not wind farming. I just don't. I'm not an advocate for wind farms. No.
Oh, well, thank you for that information.
Anytime, no problem.
And thank you for coming to the gallery.
Oh,
I'll see you again.
Fantastic place.